Hey guys, what's up? How's it going? Welcome to the Nightmare podcast. It is March 28th. We are just a couple of days away from Wrestlemania weekend. Um, so, this is going to be my prediction show. Wanted to do this a little bit earlier, but a lot of things came up. Had some technical difficulties with the laptop. Charger broke, couldn't get the damn thing to charge, ordered a charger, said it was compatible, but it didn't work. Then I got another one, that didn't fit. And I finally got it charged up, and here we are. So I'm happy to bring it to you. Just wish it was a little bit sooner, but nonetheless, it's here. It's hard to believe that we are at the end of the month already going into WrestleMania. I mean, opening day for the Yankees is on Thursday. Time just freaking flies. And hope you guys are excited for WrestleMania. I am, although I do have some criticisms of some things, just my opinion on it. Love to see if you guys agree or disagree, but we're going to get right into it. It's a little surprising that by now we don't know what's going to be, night one, night two matches. Excuse me, still got the COVID cough from, way back, not recent. It's a little surprising we don't know that, By now you would think all that will be finalized. We know it's going to be night one. We know it's going to be night two. I mean, obviously we know night two is going to be Roman and Cody. That's going to be Sunday night. Um, it really seems like they've piled up night one. Um, and I guess the remaining matches, excuse me, would be night two because they already have six announced for Saturday. And if you look at the card, I mean, there was some criticism that Triple H wanted to keep the show or the card smaller than in previous years under Vince McMahon. Vince would just get everybody on the card, and even that had some, disagreements where it was, well, being on WrestleMania shouldn't be a right, it should be earned. Um, but nonetheless, usually he did some big battle royal. As you can see on the card this year, there is no Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Maybe it'll be on the pre-show. Who knows? But you just look at it, like the Miz doesn't have a match, but they made him the host. So it's like, let's do something with the Miz. A lot of the matches that we thought were going to come to fruition have come to fruition. The one match that is still not here is the Bray Wyatt and Bobby Lashley match. And I have to say, I wasn't very thrilled with that match. I didn't really see the potential in it, and who knows what the hell is going on. They're saying Bray Wyatt is dealing with an illness. I mean, listen, we don't know what goes on behind the scenes, so we can't really say that's true or not. We have to take their word for it because, like I said, excuse me, we're not back there, so we don't know what they're doing. Um, what's the backup plan for Bobby? I believe they said there is one, and I am wondering if it's what I'm thinking. I mean, I could be completely wrong, but I'll get into that a little bit later. And I think you guys probably have an idea too of where this might go with that match. But that's the one match that we haven't heard. We're still waiting on. So pretty much the last match that was confirmed, which we knew was coming, was the Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio match. They got to the yes almost the way that I predicted, or almost the way that I said that I have mentioned in previous podcast. They only did a small piece of it, and again, I'll get into that later. But just gonna go through the card. Go through again what I think is exciting, what's not exciting. I thought this year, I thought the build sort of lost its luster, and I don't know if that's just me or others noticed it. I feel I feel WWE did a good job of building one match, well, two matches really, out of this whole card. There are two matches that I think people can't wait to see, and WWE did a great job on. One of them, I think you would be surprised. One of them is not the Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns match. I don't know if that's because there was hope that Sami Zayn would get inserted, or they would somehow swap Sami for Cody somehow. I wonder if that disappointment is there because they did a pretty good job of not making you forget about Sami, but making you forget about wanting to see Sami in the main event, in the match. The match becoming a triple threat match because that was a fear when Sami was really getting hot. Are we gonna have a replay of Daniel Bryan? Are we gonna have a replay of CM Punk? Are we gonna have the crowds taking over when we're trying to get Cody and they're screaming, excuse me, and they're screaming for Sami? I think they did a pretty good job of eliminating that worry. But the build to me was a little lackluster. And yes, that promo, the first promo that Cody and Paul did, talking about Dusty, that was supposed to try to get us off of Sami. And perhaps it worked. But I'll get more into that later. I'm going to start just a little different. Usually I start with the top match. I'm going to, start from the bottom and go from the bottom up. You know, this is a match that they just really, again, I apologize for the coughing. Um, I've just had this cough, but for some reason this weekend it seems a little bit worse. Again, I apologize for it. Um, there's two matches. The men's WrestleMania Showcase Fatal Four Way Tag Team match, which is Braun Strowman and Ricochet versus the Street Profits versus Alpha Academy versus the Viking Raiders. This shit was just thrown together. Clearly it was to fill space on the card and to just give some guys some more, give some, get some guys in the card. So that's why, Triple H being criticized. Well, in a way, he did it, but I guess it's like everybody else. You know what I mean? Well, they're not on there. They were in this tag match. They would be in the Battle Royal, but again, there's possibility that might be there. I mean, I have not heard that the winner of this match gets a future tag team title match. I haven't heard that, so it's pretty much a pointless match almost. But it's a time filler. Pretty much is what it is. Who's going to win the match? I mean, out of these guys, to me, the guys who really need the win is either Alpha Academy or the Viking Raiders. Um, I think Alpha Academy needs to split. I think Chad Gable has a lot of potential, and I think they're wasting him with the shoosh and all that stuff. They wasted him with the Shorty G shit, and I really thought Triple H would have flipped him, back to what he was in his tag team when he was with Jason Jordan. Otis, is pretty much the comedy factor. Um, I kind of think it's a little hard to take him serious as a heel. He's just a lovable guy. Um, the Street Profits. I think the Street Profits has run its course, and I think it's time for the guys to separate. And Montez Ford, as I have said in the past, is the Shawn Michaels of the group. And I'm gonna talk a little about Montez Ford a little bit more because I'll get to that in the beginning. Braun Strowman and Ricochet. I mean, Ricochet, they haven't really done much. Braun Strowman hasn't done much, and they just put them together. There was actually something online a few days ago, probably like a few weeks ago, talking about the rehires that Triple H did and how they really haven't made much of an impact. What has Braun Strowman, really done since coming back? People were sort of losing their patience with Bray Wyatt because they felt the Uncle Howdy thing was taking too long to manifest. And I agree a little bit. I think, there was like 2 weeks you could have cut out to kind of, speed it up a little bit. And, we as wrestling fans, just we as America, period, just have short attention spans. And as much as we think Bray is creative, as we love Bray, he was taking too damn long. There's criticism of what's going on with Johnny Gargano and his return, or Candice LeRae and her return. So Braun Strowman just sort of being tossed in this. It is what it is. You know, like I said, it was between the Alpha Academy, but after I just said Alpha Academy needs to split, I'll probably say the Viking Raiders need to win the most because I don't think people care about the Viking Raiders. Granted, I think it was Eric who was hurt. No, I think it was Ivar who was hurt. I think Ivar's the bigger guy. That he was hurt. Actually, I can confirm that right now. Let's see if I was correct. Oh, I was right. So Ivar's the bigger guy. He was hurt, and I don't think the Viking Raiders have really found the footing that they had when they were in NXT. And it's really hard when you don't have a tag team belts to go after. And you really can't put them against the Usos because the Usos are heels. And nobody's going to care when you have heel versus heel. So this men's WrestleMania Showcase Fatal 4-Way match is just a bullshit match, something they threw together. I'm going to go with the Viking Raiders winning. I think out of the group they needed the most. Um, and I think we need to start thinking about separating Alpha Academy. And I think we need to start thinking about separating the Street Profits. Same thing, just on the women's side, women's WrestleMania Showcase Fatal 4-Way. Again, I have not heard that this is leading to a tag match for the women's tag team titles. So again, something that was just thrown together. I think one would think that it's going to be Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler who are going to win. I am most likely going to agree with that. There's talk that they are going to be the contenders for the women's tag team belts, and I would say that may not be such a bad idea. Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, you know, as much as I like Raquel, I think she does need some more. Again, apologize, that's my dog moving around, probably looking to get more comfortable. Um, Liv Morgan and Raquel, Liv has never recovered from that match with Ronda Rousey. It was just a storyline that just got. As a matter of fact, Ronda was even criticizing that a little while ago of what could have been. It looked like you were going to have this character change for Liv, and it just fizzled for whatever reason. And I think that's one of the biggest disappointments probably for a female superstar that I've seen in a while. That you really could have did stuff with Liv, who deserved it, and WB just dropped the ball with it. With Raquel, I think she still has more growing to do. Um, I don't think you could thrust her right away in a match with like Bianca or Charlotte or have her go for a title match just yet. Um, Unfortunately, Natalia is just there. Natalia is there to be a mentor and help these women get over. Um, I would love to see Natalia get one more run with either the Raw or SmackDown title, but I just don't see that happening anytime soon. Chelsea Green, Sonya Deville. I mean, Chelsea just got this. I can't criticize too much. Not quite sure what they're doing with Sonya. Um, but again, it was just something that was just tossed together. But I think out of all this, Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler are going to win the match. Basically. Um, this match. I don't know how I feel about this match. Edge versus now we know the Demon Finn Balor in a Hell in a Cell match. I just feel like we just need to get past this whole Edge versus the Judgment Day. I think it could have ended with Becky. Excuse me, when it was Rhea and Finn versus Edge and Becky. Jesus, Becky and Beth Phoenix. I think that could have been the end of it. And I feel like this match is being forced. And there was talk about whether or not Finn would bring back the Demon for this, if it would fit. Now, at least in WWE, this would be the first time the Demon has been a heel. And if I remember correctly, the Demon has lost twice in WWE. I believe he lost in NXT to Samoa Joe, and then most recently he lost to Roman Reigns. If the Judgment Day is expected to continue after WrestleMania, Finn has to win. Finn Balor has to win. And does that mean Edge acknowledges that he failed to take down the Judgment Day, or do you have Edge win? And that's the other thing I'm going to say about these builds. Even though I felt some of it was lackluster, they also have done a very good job of making it difficult to figure out who's going to win. And this is hard to determine if it's going to be Edge who's going to win or Finn Balor who's going to win. Again, who needs to win more? I think it's Finn, and I'm going with Finn as the demon. Now there's been talk that Edge is going to come back with a brood. I have no idea. But a heel demon inside Hell in a Cell. And I think if Finn wins, that might be an indication that the Judgment Day may not be going anywhere yet. Maybe we'll get a few more months before we start seeing the dissension and the separation. But I'm going Finn Balor winning this match. Here's a match I'm disappointed with, I think is a mistake, which is Gunther versus Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre, to me, should not be in this match. Drew McIntyre should be facing Solo Sikoa. And I thought it was a big mistake to have Cody end his undefeated streak on the main roster. I think they could have ended that match in a disqualification. Because Solo costing Drew the match at Clash of the Castle, to me, has not been resolved. Yeah, you could say War Games, but the War Games was overshadowed by Sami and Kevin. You know, the other guys was just a backdrop. And yes, all those guys had issues with the bloodline, absolutely. But we know overall, come on, Survivor Series War Games, that match was about Sami choosing between Kevin and the bloodline. And I don't think Drew should be in this match. And about these guys, Brock Lesnar, the plan was, one of the plans was for Brock to face Gunther. Now, apparently, Brock felt Gunther was not ready. And that was something that I said on my Royal Rumble podcast because they didn't book Gunther as somebody who you thought could go toe to toe with Brock. Now, Gunther's Intercontinental Champion, and this is a good point. And this also kind of goes into what I'm going to talk about with Austin Theory. Put United States Championship and Intercontinental Championship side by side. Which one is given more importance? Which one is main eventing most of the pay-per-views when Roman's not on it? Who had a whole entire Hell in a Cell match built around the United States title? The Intercontinental title for a long time has been seen as the afterthought. You know, at one point, before the United States title even came in, the United States Championship didn't come into the play until Vince bought WCW. For the younger people who are listening to this and may not be up on all the history. It was WWE Championship, Intercontinental Championship. And, Intercontinental Championship was really shown to be the number 2 title. Now, you could say it's the United States Championship that's considered, the top tier behind the main championship. To have Gunther, running from Braun, I thought was a mistake. And you weren't presenting him that if you wanted this person to face Brock, you were presenting him in the best light. And clearly Brock's like he's not ready. Now, back in 16 or 17? I may have my years off. Remember when they had Daniel Bryan's Intercontinental Champion and John Cena's United States Champion? That's because they wanted those two to use them to elevate the titles because they felt the titles have dropped. Well, they certainly did a good job of elevating the United States Championship, but not Intercontinental. You know, if you had the Intercontinental title, that was the sign. You know, back in the day, back in the Attitude Era, that was the sign that you were pretty much next in line to either become champion or just be in that title picture. Now it's more seems like if you're the United States champion, you're gonna be thrust into that next level spot. So I'm not mad at the Gunther versus Sheamus aspect. You know, I know they've wrestled several times. I mean, either way, I think Sheamus is walking out Intercontinental Champion, but I just don't think Drew needs to be there. And I think they need to start giving a little bit more respect to the IC title and stop having it be this afterthought. Because Intercontinental title match, I cannot think of not one time in the last 3 years that a pay per view closed with the Intercontinental Champion. I mean, fuck. Sometimes it's not even on the damn card. So, you know, Sheamus winning, you know, maybe that'll give the prestige back. But, you know, that's why that Gunther and Brock Lesnar match didn't happen. They haven't presented Gunther the way that Gunther should be presented. The way Gunther was presented or Walter back in the UK NXT, that's the Gunther we should see now, and it's not. And I think that's the mistake. But nonetheless, it's a triple threat match. Again, I disagree. I think Drew and Solo should be having their match, and that's where Solo should lose have his first loss, but that didn't happen. But I think in this match, you know, I don't think Drew needs the Intercontinental title. I think Sheamus should get the title, and Sheamus is my pick uh, to win this match. And speaking of Brock, we'll go to that match, which is supposed to be scheduled for Saturday. Brock versus Omos. And I know there was a lot of like, what the hell are you doing? Brock versus Omos. First of all, you know Brock. If Brock didn't want to do it, Brock wouldn't be doing it. But remember what I had said. If you listen to my past podcast, remember what I said. When Roman was done with his matches with Roman, who's next? Where is there for Brock to go? Brock has worked with all the top people. He's The Undertaker, Triple H, Randy Orton, John Cena, Braun Strowman, Samoa Joe, Big Show. Since he's been back, he's ran through all of them. Dean Ambrose when he was there, Seth Rollins, Roman, Finn, Daniel Bryan, hell, Kane. So who's left? He has to start moving on. Either he's going to retire or start moving on with the no-name guys such as Omos or a Gunther, Rob Breaker maybe in the future. You know, Damian Priest if that ever came about. But he's been through everybody. And now it's time for him to start moving on to these guys. And, you know, Brock is towards the end. And he needs to do what Taker has done, Triple H has done, what Kane has done. You got to start putting the other guys over. Or you can still win your matches, but, you know, and rather than, you know, suplex, 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 clothesline, suplex, suplex, clothesline, body slam, F5, you got to do something a little different here to make these guys look good, like he just did with Omos these last 2 weeks. Now, with that said, I fully expect Brock to win this match. You know what? Let me take that back. Well, no, well, this is what I think. If Bobby, and it looks like it's not going to happen, we'll probably get most likely confirmation on Friday. If Bobby Lashley is not going to face Jesus, Bray Wyatt, there has been talk about getting the Hurt Business back together. Is this where Bobby officially reunites with MVP and Omos assists, excuse me, and Bobby Lashley assists Omos in getting the win over Brock Lesnar? I am still going to go with Brock winning, but I'm throwing that scenario out there that that's something that could possibly happen. Perhaps that's the backup plan. Is okay. We lost this match with Bray. We've been teasing the reunification of the Hurt Business. Let's go ahead and do this with the addition of Omos and Bobby helping him win. Maybe Cedric comes out, maybe Shelton comes out, they get destroyed, and then here comes the Almighty. So I'm still gonna go with Brock Lesnar as winning um, on this match. And just one final thing on that. They were talking that Stone Cold turned down a match with Brock Lesnar. You know, I would do the same fucking thing. If I have neck issues like that, I don't want this fucker tossing me around. Now they say that Brock is safe in the ring, that just looks rough. I don't know, okay? Because sometimes I see the way these guys are landing, just the way he's throwing them, especially these scrawny guys, the way he tossed them, and the way they just bend and land on their head. If I'm Stone Cold, obviously, Brock is gonna know, like, okay. I just happened to see a couple of clips where he wrestled The Undertaker. I think it was in 2015 at SummerSlam. You could tell he was being careful with him on those suplexes. But sometimes when Brock gets going, it's like, oh damn, that was a rough one. Oh god damn, he's gonna really be hurting. You know what I mean? But I don't blame Steve for turning down that match. I would probably turn it down too if I'm at the age of Steve. Okay. Uh let's move on to the women. Oscar versus Bianca Belair. I'm liking Oscar's new, heel thing is pretty cool. But am I overly excited for this match? No. I love Bianca Belair, but I think it's time for her title reign to end. I'm going with Oscar on this one. I think it's time we have to move Bianca onto something else. Maybe move her to SmackDown. I don't know, but I think it's time for Bianca to drop the title and move on to something else. But definitely go with Oscar on this one. Trish Stratus, Lita, and Becky Lynch versus Damage Control. So at first, what I thought they were going to do, I thought they were going to do Trish Stratus versus Bayley, and then have Lita and Becky versus Dakota, Kai, and Io Sky for the women's. But you know what? Nobody gives a damn about these women's tag team titles, and maybe this is the way to get them over. Let's see. You put them on a legend, you put them on a future legend, and let's see what happens. Now you might say, well, why not Trish and Lita? Well, Trish is a mom, and Trish probably doesn't want to commit to all that time. You know, she possibly maybe she's traveling back and forth right now. The kid's about to be on spring break. They're getting closer to the end of the school year. Maybe this is the time she feels comfortable being away, and then she'll go work through SummerSlam, and then after that, when the kids go back, she might go back home. She has expressed that her priority is being a mom. Um, Now there's talk that she's going to turn heel, um, but I hope that doesn't happen because I'm thinking at some point we're going to get a one-on-one match with Trish and Bayley. I don't know if that match excites me as much as the 2019 match with Charlotte Flair did, but I kind of think that's where we're going. And I've also feel that the whole damage control thing has just been a complete failure. It just there was nothing exciting about it, and I think they just lost too much. And then you just okay. It's like when Bray Wyatt was when he first came, and he was like the cult leader. He gave great promos, but he lost all the time, and you just kind of just like you lose that ability to care because like okay yeah he's talking his promos is good but they're just gonna fucking lose energy because that's all they do with him, and I feel like that's what's happened with Damage Control. They talk, but then they lose, or they're made to look like jokes. So it's hard to take them seriously. I think it's cool to see Lita. Um, and I think Lita might stick around for a while. And maybe Becky Lynch and Lita are the right ones to at least start to get the women's titles to give them some importance so people can care about them. I see the collision. I see Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey versus those two. Those two are going to Shayna and Rousey are going to take the women's tag team titles, and they're probably going to run roughshod through everybody. And I think you need to do with them what you are doing with the Usos. Give them a lengthy title run. It may not have to be 800 days or 600 days, whatever it is, but give them a lengthy title run, and that way it will be that much special when you find the right women's tag team to take the titles. Since the debut, Sasha and Bailey, yes, they tried to give them some prestige, but you know what? Whatever little prestige that they would and respect they were trying to give those titles, they quickly faded. Quickly faded. And I hope that they're able to get it back because those things mean nothing right now. Nothing. Before this match, I fully expect Lita and Becky Lynch and Trish to go over. Unless Trish turns heel at WrestleMania, I don't know. I am kind of thinking they want to get a Bailey versus Trish at SummerSlam. But listen, if Trish turns heel, then we know that's not going to happen. So let's see what happens with that one. Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley. I am looking forward to this match. The build-up has been shitty. The promos have sucked. And it's a little confusing. Are they trying to turn Ronda, excuse me, are they trying to turn Rhea Ripley babyface? I mean, I couldn't quite understand why they made her have a match with with Bailey. I, I didn't get it. Like, what sense did that make? And you even had some cheers for Rhea. And then Charlotte looked like she was getting booed a little bit, and doing their fans were giving her the what treatment. So, what's going on? And I do think Rhea is going to be cheered at WrestleMania. I really do, because I think the respect is there for what she has done in the last year. Because Rhea, after she faced Charlotte the last time, Rhea lost a lot of momentum, man, a lot. And it doesn't seem like it was all her fault. I think she was having visa issues, but man, it was hard for her to get that back. Really hard to get it back. And I really don't think she got that back until she turned heel on Liv Morgan and she joined Edge. And then with Dominic being mixed in, I mean, just gone to a whole new level. And she deserves 100% of the position she's in right now. And she damn well deserves to walk out of WrestleMania SmackDown's Women's Champion. And I'm going for 100%. You know, I'm a little surprised that they put the title, on show and will take it off so quickly. But Charlotte's 14 time, Charlotte's golden. You know, a loss this short, it's not going to matter. It's not. And I remember reading a few years ago that they want her to surpass her father anyway. So she's going to get at least 3 more title reigns. But Rhea is absolutely going to walk out WrestleMania. I mean, if Charlotte wins, I will be stunned. Stunned. Rhea's walking out on this one. She has to. And I would be stunned if that match did not close night one because they damn well deserve to close out night one. Damn well deserve to do it. I know there's talk about whether or not it should be the Usos and Sami Zayn closing it out, but no, it needs to be Rhea, Ripley, and Charlotte closing the match out. The other two matches for night one is Seth Rollins versus Logan Paul. I said this before. I think this is beneath Seth, but listen. Again, Seth is at that level where this doesn't hurt him. Um, I don't think he should lose. I don't think he's going to lose. I think Logan's going to lose the match. You know, he's been making Logan look pretty good these last 2 weeks with the whole getting knocked out thing. But I just I just think it's beneath him. I really do. Um, that's probably just the best thing I can say about it. But I'm going for Seth on this one. Austin Theory and John Cena. This is a tough one because I see the scenario where Austin Theory wins, but I could also see a scenario where John Cena wins. Now, well, you're gonna say, well, how can they have John Cena win? He's in Hollywood. He's not gonna stick around. It is quite possible that John Cena wins. He comes to Raw the following night, reinstates his open challenge, and maybe somebody from NXT comes and beats him for the title. It's very possible. But Austin Theory has really grown, really grown. And I said it before, if that stupid cash in, and it was stupid how they did that cash in, if that was to help lead to this character that we have now, then, even though I thought it was a stupid way to do it, it has worked. It's worked because you believe. I think his promos have gotten better. You believe the promos. And I'm telling you, if he doesn't fuck up, whether it's getting hurt or do anything else stupid, I'm telling you, this guy's going to be champion next year. Maybe even later this year. Depending how certain storylines go, it's possible he could be the 2024 Royal Rumble winner. It's possible. Austin Theory is that good. Now, is he going to be the new face of the company? I'm not going to go that far. But he's very talented. And that's not something I think anybody can take from him or deny. That you are entertained watching him. He's a good talker and he's a good wrestler. And it is plausible that they can work this match out that Theory wins clean. And you see what Cena is doing? I mean, Cena's pretty much coming back and putting these guys over, which is what Brock needs to start doing. But I'm going to go with Austin Theory on this one. I'm going with Austin Theory. Like I said, it is totally possible. And not to mention, it's also possible that Cena wins, he does the open challenge the following night, and Theory gets his title back. That's possible too. And you can criticize the hot potato of the belt back and forth. It's possible you could do that. You know? But I'm gonna go with Theory on this one. I think Theory deserves to win, and I'm telling you, if he wins and he wins clean, I'm telling you, they're skyrocketing this guy. They're skyrocketing him. I don't think they're ready to take the U.S. title off him. That's why I think he's gonna win because I think they want him to stay a little more occupied until they're ready to move him into that main event picture. I mean, they might, and he might face Cody Rhodes, but he's not. I don't think he's gonna win. Um, but he's prepped. They are prepping him to be champion, and like I said, quite possibly be the next John Cena. Now I've seen some like indie videos of him on YouTube where he was a face. Um, you know, we haven't seen that in the main roster, so we're gonna have to see what's that. What's it gonna be like when he becomes a face. So let's see. But I think Austin's gonna win. I, I I really do. And when they are ready to take the United States Championship off of him, Montez Ford has to be next in line. It's got to be Montez Ford. It's got to be. Because I think behind Austin Theory, Montez Ford is your next guy to start prepping to be a future champion. Because Montez Ford has it too. Actually, the crowd loves him. Wrestles great. He's entertaining. Can cut good promos. I think he's behind Austin Theory being to be catapulted next. I really do. So that at least clears most of the matches that they have planned. Um, you know, there's only really three more matches for you to go through. The Usos. Let me do the Rey and Dominic Mysterio match. And that's the match that I was saying that they did a great job building. That they made you care because that pop when the crowd went crazy when Ray hit him. I'm not going to equate it to because to me nobody has gotten bigger pops than when that glass breaks and Stone Cold comes out. Watch old videos on YouTube. Watch Watch when Stone Cold came back at Backlash 2000 to help the Rush, and that crowd went nuts. They always talk about when Mankind won the WWF Championship for the first time against The Rock on Raw, and Austin came out, and the crowd went fucking crazy. Watch those videos on YouTube, 98, 99, and 2000. Even now, when Austin comes out, the pop is the same. The Rock doesn't get that. I'm sorry. Triple H doesn't get that. As much as I love the Undertaker, Taker, it's Stone Cold. So I'm not going to say that pop was that big, but it was up there, which shows you how they did a good job of making you care. Because I criticized it because in the beginning, because it was at the point where it's like, okay, we need to take a break. Like we know you want to get to this point, but there's got to be a point where we get a little bit of a breather from this from Judgment Day and Edge and Judgment Day and Edge and Mysterio, we had to get a break, and we finally got the break, and then it kind of started segueing back into it where we get this match. So what I was saying to get Ray to finally say yes was, if you haven't heard it in the past episodes, was yes, involve Ray's mother and possibly his daughter. But rather than Dominic, disrespecting his mother, telling her to shut up, it was going to be Rhea who maybe slapped the mom or maybe attacked Aaliyah at the behest of Dominic. And then that would have been the trigger for Ray. But they didn't go that route, but either way, they got the point. I think it probably would have been a little bit better if maybe, I would say if Dominic hit his mom, the shut up part was fine. But maybe he could have pushed his sister or something like that. I thought he could have done a little bit more just to sort of give it that extra oomph. But nonetheless, it was fine. The build was great. But then here's the question: does Ray win, or does Dominic win? Does Dominic get that victory, and then does that carry to Backlash, or does Ray get the victory, and then Dominic begs for another match at Backlash? Ray's going into the Hall of Fame. Does that mean Ray is getting ready to hang it up soon? So that's another match where it's kind of hard to tell who's going to go over. And even I'm having a hard time because I can see Dominic going over and I can see Ray going over. This is a tough one. Man, this is a tough one. Ray or freaking Dominic? I'm going to go Ray. I think I'm wrong, but I'm going to say Ray. And I think we'll get one more match at Backlash. And I think that's perhaps where Dominic will win. But I don't think we're going to get the happy ending so quick, that they wrestle and then they hug. I don't think we're going to get that quite yet. I don't think so. Now, I can see a scenario where maybe Judgment Day turns on on Dominic and Ray comes back to save him. Maybe that's how they get their reconciliation. But I would definitely say the story will officially end when they reconcile. That's what I think. But I don't think they're going to hug in the middle of the ring. So Ray could win, and maybe he tries to hug his son and he gets a low blow for his troubles. or Dominic could win. But I'm gonna say Rey. I'm gonna go with Rey Mysterio on this one. The other match, the Usos versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. I think it's time for the Usos to drop the titles. I do. And I think using Sami and them will be a way to separate the titles. Maybe at Backlash they challenge for one of the sets of the title, something like that. I don't know, but it's time now to get the Raw tag titles back on Raw and get the SmackDown to stay on SmackDown. Um, I mean, the way the story's going, it's clear. It's clear somebody from the Bloodline is going to lose their title. I don't think the Bloodline walks out with all the gold. Either the Usos lose, or Roman loses, or everybody loses. But somewhere in these matches, I think there's going to be a swerve where somebody keeps it. But the way that they built this storyline, which I thought with this other one I thought was pretty good, I I can't see Sami and Kevin not walking out with the belts, and they're my picks to go out with that. And finally, the championship match of Roman and Cody. It's tough because I can see Cody winning and I can see Cody losing. I don't know. But I'm going to go with what the consensus is, and that's Cody winning. Same thing, I think it's time to drop the belts. But there's talk of a redesign where they just have to go back to one belt. And I guess that means that the champion will probably be available on both shows. It's plausible. I can see Cody losing, and he has to continue the story. And it's also plausible that I can see that it ends and that Roman loses. So does all the bloodline lose, or only half the bloodline lose? Now there's been word that there's plans for Roman after WrestleMania. Now is that him chasing for the title, or is that him defending his title? It's a tough one. It is absolutely tough this year to tell who's going to go over. I gave all my predictions, and man, they could all be wrong. It's really hard to tell. But I'm going to go on the notion that all of the Bloodline are going to lose their titles, so I'm going with Cody. So to recap, I'm just going to go into order now of what's on Wikipedia. Austin Theory versus John Cena, I'm going with Austin Theory. Seth Rollins versus Logan Paul, go with Seth Rollins. Trish Stratus, Lita, Becky Lynch versus Damage Control, I'm going with the baby faces. Trish, Lita, and Becky. Brock Lesnar versus Omos, go with Brock Lesnar. Bianca Belair versus Asuka, I'm going with Asuka. Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley, go with Rhea Ripley. Gunther versus Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre for the Intercontinental Championship, go with Sheamus. Edge versus the Demon Finn Balor Hell in a Cell match, go with the Demon Finn Balor. Women's WrestleMania Showcase Fatal 4-Way Tag Team Match Bullshit Match, going with Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey. Men's WrestleMania Showcase Fatal 4-Way Tag Team Bullshit Match, Braun Strowman and Ricochet versus the Street Profits versus Alpha Academy versus the Viking Raiders, go with the Viking Raiders, they need to win. Tag team match for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships, I am going the Usos versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. I am going with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Singles match, Rey Mysterio versus Dominic, a tough one, but I am going to go with Rey. And finally, the undisputed WWE Universal Championship, Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. And I will say Cody will walk out the champion. And with that, I hope you guys enjoy WrestleMania, because after WrestleMania, I always look at excuse me. Oh, I always look at post WrestleMania as sort of a reset. You know, the saying is that They know what they want for the matches at WrestleMania. Now they go backwards. How do we get them there? And I feel WrestleMania is usually the reset, and then we plan for the summer into the end of the year, and that helps determine who's going to be our Royal Rumble winner. There are times that you have a continuation of things, but I think overall, I think we're going to get more of a reset. You know, this is going to be the last encounter with Finn Balor and Edge. So where does Finn Balor go after this? Where does Edge go after this? If Austin Theory defeats John Cena, where does Austin Theory go next? What's next for Brock Lesnar? After Asuka, as far as I'm concerned, beats Bianca Belair, where does Bianca go? Rhea Ripley becomes the SmackDown Women's Champion. Who's going to be her future challengers? Ray and Dominic. Do we get the continuation, or is that one and done? If it's one and done, does Ray retire? Where does Dom go? Obviously going to stay in the bloodline, stay in Judgment Day. Those are the questions after WrestleMania. That's why I say it's like a reset. Who's going to come up from NXT? Who's going to debut from NXT? You know, those are the questions. But again, those are my predictions. Please leave your comments and your likes. I will be back on Saturday night after WrestleMania Night 1 with reaction to it. Um, I hope you guys enjoy. I'm sure there are going to be some guys out there having WrestleMania parties. We order up some grub and turn on your Peacock network and you turn on WrestleMania. I'm going to be here watching. I can't wait. I'm going to make sure I have everything done so I can sit down and watch it and enjoy it without interruptions. Although that's probably not going to happen. Probably going to end up working. That's just wishful thinking. I thought I was going to be able to do that this year at WrestleMania because I thought I wouldn't be helping with my own job anymore, but I still am. So I will most likely be doing some of that work over the weekend. But that's almost over, and soon I really will get to enjoy all the pay-per-views. But that's it for me. Again, enjoy WrestleMania. Enjoy opening day if you're a Yankee fan. Enjoy opening day if you're a Met fan. Again, I'm in New York. For all of you who are in California or wherever you're listening to this and you have a baseball team, enjoy the opening day of your baseball team. Baseball season's back, pumped up. Got some young faces coming up on the Yankees. Can we please beat the damn Houston Astros and take our asses back to the World Series? We have not been. Forget win the World Series of the Yankees. Forget winning it. We have not been to the World Series since fucking 2009. Haven't sniffed it. And if I remember correctly, the closest that we got getting back to the World Series was in 2019 when Chapman gave up the damn home run to Altuve in Game 7 of the ALCS. That, I believe, was the closest we came to getting back to the World Series. And the fact that I think 15 or 16 different teams have been to the World Series ever since then is atrocious. And that you have had repeat winners is atrocious. And what's more atrocious is that the fucking Mets were one of those teams that went to the damn World Series in 2015 against the Royals and lost. Sorry about that tangent. Yankees is a touchy subject for me. Good night, guys. Enjoy WrestleMania.